we are in an age where finding people and finding mentors is very, very easy. However, it's becoming exceedingly hard to find people that are giving advice from a position of experience and wisdom. And our jobs as people searching for answers and searching for which direction to keep going is to find the people who you would actually want to trade places with, or who are where we want to be, or at least in the same direction of where we want to be. So if you're taking advice as an entrepreneur from a professor who has never started a business, or an adult who speaks with confidence and may sound like they know what they're talking about, but have never experienced the path you're on or the outcome of where your path leads, take that information with a grain of salt. Because yes, all the information you'll ever get will always be useful, but not always in the way you think it is. So a lot of times people will give you advice based off of their experience, and they will be right for themselves, but it's dangerous when you try to apply it to your life and thinking that their scenarios are the same as the ones you're facing today. And it's really hard because there's like an illusion of expertise. So it's almost to the point where they convince themselves that they know that they have the expertise when giving you advice, because they do. But their expertise comes from their experience. And if they're not where you want to be or on the road of where you want to get to, they're giving you advice on a different angle and a different path. And that's fine, because it's very valid to people who are chasing the road they're on. But if you're not on that road, make sure that you always are looking back on advice you're given and reframing it to make sense to you and what you're doing. Because misdirection is very easily done and extremely hard to pinpoint and navigate out of. When you get advice from someone on a different path than you, without knowing, will begin to maneuver away from the correct trail, because someone, let's say this is your end goal, and this is where someone else is, completely different area and path in life. And here's the divergence. At this point, if you ask someone who's where you want to be advice, they'll be able to guide you and to go to the right direction. If you ask someone else advice on the similar topic or the same thing, their experience, while it's true for them, will diverge you from the path that you're on and the path that you're going towards. So a way I deal with this, and a way that you could deal with it and make sure you're always asking the right people, is understanding if you would actually want to be in the position that they're in. And it's like a mirror test. So like, look at yourself and look at your values and your goals, and then reflect it on them and see if, okay, have they achieved the goals, or at least are further along the path on achieving the goals than I am? And do they hold the same values that I do? Because those two things will help you discover whether the advice they're giving can be applied to yourself, or if it's something that's helped them get to where they are, but not exactly applied to you in a straightforward way. Because all advice is always useful. The more information you have, the more you have to work with, the more context you have, and the more options you have to make decisions. And as long as you're not paralyzed by those options, it's just a bigger picture to help you better understand who you are and which direction you want to go to, even if that explanation pushes you away from their direction. An example of this actually was in 2022, 2023, something like that. I was considering I was still in college, my freshman year, and I was considering between staying on the path of going to medical school or saying, I'm out of this, let me start a business. And the way I was able to make a decision of let me start a business is because I talked to like one of the heads of orthopedic surgery who's like at the top, some of the highest levels you can achieve. Like he's working with like NFL stars for the Lions. I think it was like some other Detroit teams. I don't know. And he's like the head of the hospital, everything. So I'm talking to him. And in this conversation, I'm listening to what he's saying, but there's like something like hinting at me. There's like, this is the peak of what you can achieve. And he wasn't free. He didn't seem like he enjoyed it. And when I asked him if he would do it again, he immediately said, hell no. And at that moment, I was like, yep, this is not for me. And when you can like recognize that path difference, it clicks very fast sometimes, because like it's just completely against who I am as a person. And although there's a part of me that could and would have succeeded in that path, I think the part of me that lives today would have died with that decision, because it's a decision of following a system to the T with as little deviation as possible. And I'm not shitting on anyone who decided to go that path, because it's exceedingly hard and exceedingly valuable, and there's so much good you can do in this world as a doctor. But for me, it lacks the freedom I'm looking for, and I think there's a ceiling to it that would also, again, block the freedom to get there. But I say that to say, at the end of the day, you're the only one that lives with the consequences of your choices, of your decisions, of the path you take. Nobody else does. It's only you. So thinking that someone's advice can be blamed on them instead of taking accountability to the choices you make is only going to make you feel better about a decision that you should have thought more thoroughly about, or give you an excuse as to why you don't understand yourself as much as you should. Because if you don't understand yourself, how can you expect to bring any value to this world? Because if you don't know what you can bring to this world, there's nothing you can bring to this world. So first of all, figure out who you are, what your values are, and where you want to go. And once you know that, understanding advice from a plethora of people and determining whether they should directly affect you or indirectly affect you, that's how you build and how you move forward. That's all I got for you guys today. If you enjoyed the video, drop a like, leave a comment, say hi to Zoro. Anyways, I'll see you guys tomorrow. Peace.